Joe, Brandon Marcello of 247 Sports said that it is believed that Texas Tech will be spending with their total roster of TV revenue money and NIL around $55 million. Joe, this begs the question, number one, where are they getting all this cash from? Oil. But number two, if a Big 12 team is going to spend that level of money in football, are they about to start making a run here and start running the conference?
I legitimately think that this is going to be the start of that wave. And I'm not just trying to ride off the fact that we know that the Texas Tech fans, that they like us. A lot of money that's being thrown around, $55 million to go towards all of their athletic programs. But we know a good bit of that's going to go towards basketball, which has been one of the best basketball programs over the last few years. And their football team has been gradually improving. But I don't think people realize how ridiculous that $55 million number is compared to some professional payrolls. The Oakland Athletics payroll is $62 million. The San Jose Sharks payroll is $65 million. They have a lot of money to throw around. And that has been one thing since the NIL era and transfer portal. They have been improving, but they haven't really returned to that level of excitement of back when Michael Crabtree was there and Mike Leach was there. They haven't really gotten to that point yet. I really do have a pretty strong belief, Blake, that this is going to be that first year where they're going to finish top 3 in the conference with some really nice players that they added, that they will start a run of being one of the top teams in the Big 12. There is no reason why, with no Texas and Oklahoma, with this much bread, and if you can't win with this much money going towards your football program, you need to fire Joey McGuire and find a new coach, but I don't think that's going to happen. If you have every reason to succeed in the future. No one else in the Big 12 can spend like this.
I don't want to say nobody because I do think Arizona State does have a big booster base if they did tap into it. But here's where I'm at with this Texas Tech thing. Number one, can we make it to the conference championship game first? Can we just make it there first before we start? Because, Joe, we've seen teams all the time in all of sports spend a shitload of money, A&M, that legitimately spent a shitload of money and they fell on their face because of it. Now, my thing with Texas Tech about the Big 12, A&M had a lot of other teams, better teams that they're having to compete against. In reference to this, they got to start getting better in high school recruiting. They must. Because if you're going to spend that high level of money, you better develop from within. And you better get elite high school kids to come to your school. If you're going to spend Texas Longhorn type money, you should expect Texas Longhorn type personnel, should you not?
You should.
Okay. So if that's the case, then they're going to be competing with some of these other teams for those type of players. And if that's the case, you got to do that through high school recruiting. I'm not saying it's going to be a one-year fix. They went and spent a lot of money in the portal. But there also just comes a point in time where I understand what we're saying, but for me, there's 3 things. They got to start recruiting better from the high school ranks. They got to continue to do what they're doing in the portal. And Joe, can they make a conference championship game before I do that? I think those 3 things for me. I know you're spending money and great for you. I'm glad that you're spending money. I'm glad when a program from a not as big P5 or P4 will spend money like this to make themselves better. It shows dedication. At the same time, there are things that you got to do to complete that, though.
I think those are really good points to bring up. And I think that there's 2 sides to this. There's past evidence before revenue sharing of what they've done over the past couple of years in the NIL era. They finished 23rd on 3 in the industry ranking, 23rd in 2024. In 2025, they finished 42nd. And right now in 2026, they are 40th. And the highest rated player that they have committed, they've got a lot of kids committed actually, is a 3-star. So they don't have an arsenal to what you're talking about that one would expect. So there's the promise and the excitement over the fact that they can spend all this money and they've got a lot of money to turn to. There's a very small number of athletic programs in the country. These are like SEC level numbers that you can spend. $55 million on your athletics department, which probably means touching 40 35 for football, at least 30 for football. That's a crap load of money that they can spend on their football team. But at the same time, we look at these recruiting classes, and I know that like it's not as just cut and dry of like not every 5-star goes on to become an elite player. There's plenty of 3-stars that go on to become elite players. They're not putting out guys right now a ton into the NFL like Texas is, like Georgia, like Alabama do on a consistent basis. They need to put that money towards stealing some 5-stars. I like that number, and that makes me get excited. But to your point exactly, we can't have Micah Hudson be the only 5-star that you've had in the past couple of years, and we don't even know if he's ever going to pan out. I need to see some big names. I need to get excited about a big-name kid from the state sticking around, a 5-star defensive tackle, a 5-star offensive tackle, 5-star quarterback. That makes me think, oh, shit, they were not kidding when they said that they had $55 million.
Yeah, you can make a splash in the portal, but my question would be, of any of those guys that you got and brought in from the portal, are they Colin Simmons? Are they some of the Joe, are they Caleb Downs?
Right.
Who are they? And that would be the point of what I'm trying. There's not going to be that high level of dudes in the portal like that for you to just only focus portal, right? Like, it's just not. You got to develop from within. Like, you can't do that. So I am fired up for them, Joe, that they're doing this. Fired up. And quite honestly, we haven't talked about this yet, but I think you and I might pick them to win the conference this year, correct?
I lean in that direction. I completely lean in that direction.
I do too. I 100% lean in that direction that they could win it. It's just going to come down to the fact of, for this, what we're specifically talking about, this is not a 1-year sample size. They're going to have to flip some kids in December. If you're going to spend that level of money, you got to flip kids in December.
You know what it makes me kind of think of? What can happen here? Do you remember when we did our signing day? It
reminds me of Texas, if I'm being honest, of when Sark got there the first go, the second year.
Yeah.
When they just started spending a shitload of money and they went public with it and they were like, do something about it.
That's a good example. The thought that I had this year when we did our signing day show, we saw Michigan come out of nowhere. We know what happened with Bryce Underwood, but they went and grabbed a couple of these guys and flipped and then tried to flip. Right. They suddenly had this ignition once the money was there that they just said, all right, we're not playing. We're going to go get these kids. We're going to go get the high 4-stars and a 5-star. We need to come out of this thing after multiple months of bad recruiting. We need to make up for it by just throwing some money around. That's what needs to happen. We need to get to December. We need to get to signing day. And that week we need to be going, oh shit, Texas Tech flipped who? That is what we need to get in order to feel better about this. But it's all promising.
Well, to your point, they went and got Earls, the DB. They went and got Babaloa from the offensive
big
tackle
one
from Kansas. That the one that everybody's like, oh shit, Bryce Underwood. Well, shit, what about this kid, the offensive tackle? So you're right. That's a good point. They got to flip some kids in December once they get this money infusion.
Yeah, absolutely.
The question is can anybody in the Big 12 match that level of money? That's the real question.
I don't think they can.
I don't know.
Maybe Arizona State.
Let me think. I'm trying to think.
Maybe BYU. Maybe BYU.
Yeah, but BYU ain't going to recruit like that, though. They ain't going to. And ain't nobody, with all due respect, I don't mean that. I know I joke around with this. Joe, to go to that kind of a religious school, it's different than going to Notre Dame. It's a much different scenario.
You're not Mormon. It's a tough thing to mesh with.
It's a very
bought in for football.
Joe, there's curfews.
Yeah.
Like 9 o'clock curfews on weekdays. Like I don't. Joe, you play college football. Study hall for freshmen is done at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, meetings would be done at 10. And also on top of that, guys want to go out.
Yeah, and you're not